What's up, guys? Boy Benny. There's something called blood libel, and we need to talk about it. It's a pretty nasty thing to do to somebody. It's when you or your group has committed some type of crime or offense, or been the victim of some type of crime or offense in the past, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, whatever. The people who actually did the crime or the offending, they're not alive anymore. They're not around. They're plotted. They are worm food. Yet, you must suffer for the sins of your ancestors. That's called blood libel. There's some blood in your veins that comes from your ancestors, and so that means that their suffering was your suffering, or their sins is your sins. That's not how it should work morally in any religion. That's not how it should work legally, and it's not how it works legally, but that's actually how it works culturally with sins of our past, and it is wrong, okay? It is empirically and demonstrably evil. Now, that is also why you see the kind of ratcheted up rhetoric, like, of course, the women of The View, when it comes to race. The racial topics and the racial conversation in America is a purely blood libel conversation. Because of your skin color this, because of your skin color that. I get privileges because of this, or I get privileges because of that, or you're guilty because of something that happened thousands, hundreds of years ago. You can hear it in clips like this. Really interesting clip. Check this out. Racist, idiot, dumbest, possibly dumbest woman in America, Sonny Hostin, had this to say about Clarence Thomas.
More than anything, you pointed out, first black woman. There's only been 2 black men, and that those numbers are a little shocking.
And one doesn't really represent the black community.
No. But my whole point is that, but addition to
Clarence Thomas doesn't represent the black community, says Sonny Hostin. So when she says something like that, what she's saying is that she speaks for all black people, that all black people are a monolithic block, and that, quite literally in the words of Joe Biden, you ain't black if you don't agree with me 100% politically. So let me ask Sonny Hostin a question. Are you black if you're a slave owner? I'm not trying to be offensive, nor am I trying to be mean to Sonny Hostin. I'm simply trying to be empathetic to the fact that she had the quite recent realization that her entire family were slave owners, in fact. The View host Sonny Hostin is a staunch proponent of slavery reparations. She went on PBS to explore her ancestry. Turns out she is a descendant of slave owners from Spain who owned Africans. So does that mean she pays herself reparations? Let's have a listen.
Oh, I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
No, it's a fact of life, huh? Oh, well, interesting. It is, in fact, a fact of life. Now, it's funny how Sonny isn't immediately calling for herself to pay herself reparations. Again, this is something that Sonny Hostin has literally been a proponent of, ladies and gentlemen, something that she has oft said, that reparations must be paid in society. But, and oh, by the way, the Spanish slaveholders, who were far more vicious, ruthless, and totally barbaric in their treatment, and it went on for much longer, by the way. I mean, sorry, I'm trying to give a full history lesson here, but go read about the Spanish colonization of South America. I mean, you will find some horrible stories. And those stories were partially executed by Sonny Hostin's family. So who does she pay? Well, if you listen to her, no one. You still owe her money. But you were the slave owner. Like, by that measure. None of it makes sense.
At first, I was deeply disappointed.
The slave thing is a bummer.
It's a bummer. And I
can't control it.
I still believe,
know, but
I still
still,
believe in
it's like,
reparations, by the
whoa.
way, so y'all can stop texting me and emailing me and saying that I'm a white girl and that I don't deserve reparations. I still believe that
someone did that to you?
Yeah.
I don't know who sent her a thing telling her she was a white girl.
Okay, it's too much, people.
But clean off your television screen.
Yeah, that's a lot. So I still believe in reparations. I still believe this country has a lot to do in terms of racial justice. But what I will say, Sarah, to your question is that I feel that I'm enriched by knowing that history.
Yeah.
I'm enriched, and I'm enriched by knowing that my family has come so far from being enslavers to my mother marrying my father in 1968.
Well, yeah.
So, I actually agree with her. It'd be amazing if she actually applied that logic to everyone else. Unfortunately, she doesn't. She engages in what is called blood libel. In-group, out-group hate-mongering is what Sonny Hostin does. She expects you to view her family story as sympathetic and forgiving, but she doesn't apply that to anyone else. And that shows the absolute depravity of this person. Sonny Hostin on The View says that most Americans are racist. She proves it by saying she was called the N-word while walking on the beach in Florida. Doesn't have any evidence of that. She just says you can't dismiss my lived experience. Yet she is trying to ask for you to accept her lived experience and not judge her family for being slave owners and for making their fortune by owning other people, which is, of course, a morally repugnant practice. The View's Sonny Hostin, a black Republican, is an oxymoron. I don't understand black Republicans. I don't understand Latino Republicans. See, she applies the libel to everyone else and doesn't give anyone else their lived experience. She demands that you respect her lived experience. Utter black hole narcissist. These people, like, truly pride cometh before destruction. She attacked Jason Aldean's hometown of Macon, Georgia, as one of the most racist places in the country. Macon is 54% black, by the way. Sonny Hostin, finally, we know that black quarterbacks can lead teams and are smart enough to lead teams. Sounds like a kind of racist thing to say. Were you saying that the opposite was true at some point in American history? Well, at some point in history, Sonny Hostin's entire family owned a bunch of black slaves, according to the PBS report. Ladies and gentlemen, View, Sonny Hostin stunned to learn her ancestors were slaveholders. That's disappointing. Is it really? Sonny Hostin demands that you understand that she is morally absolved of the sins of her family from like just a generation ago, or how long ago? I mean, I assume if it's Spanish colonialism, it's got to go back like to the 1500s, 1600s. But she's totally absolved of it, okay? There's no blood libel for her. In fact, she wants to let you know that actual slavery that's going on today, not just the stuff from back in the day, but the real slavery that's going on right now in a place like communist China, who's enslaving a bunch of Uyghur Muslims, that slavery don't matter. This is how much that she cares about slavery. You must forgive her ancestors for their slavery. And then, this is most important, you have to stop paying attention to real slavery that's going on today.
With a 6'2" black kid in college and a 5'7", 5'8" black kid in high school, I don't see that part of American exceptionalism. I'm sorry. No. I think this country has a lot of problems that could be solved. Yes, maybe they're putting Muslims in jail in Afghanistan, I think you mentioned, and China. They're putting a lot of more black people in jail here.
Can I ask?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the concentration camps in China that didn't happen. Not real slavery. What's real slavery is the lived experience of black people here in this country. Do you see what a poisonous worldview this is? What a despicable, truly actually deplorable worldview this is? Sonny Hostin, logic. The lived experience of a white kid on a potato farm in Idaho is different in this country from a black student. Whether the black student is wealthy or not, because of his country was founded on slavery. Oh, you mean the slavery of your family? Did you apologize in this diatribe for your family's part in that slavery? The dumbest lawyer on TV, Sonny Hostin, says Senator Tim Scott is a token. He only spoke because he's black. You know, I happen to know Tim Scott, a little bit of his family's history. Tim Scott's family actually does have a lineage back to real American slavery and were sharecroppers. Very, very impoverished. Tim Scott's story is one of, well, only in America style stories. That is a true testament to this nation. But Sonny Hostin is a bitter, vile, vicious racist whose family actually engaged in the sin of slavery against families like Tim Scott's family. Don't know if there was any crossing of the paths there, but let's just say there's one person in this dynamic, Tim Scott versus Sonny Hostin, who has the right to actually criticize slavery, and it's not the person whose family was engaged in slaveholding, which Sonny Hostin was. It is really amazing. White suburban women are voting Republican, which is like roaches voting for Raid. I mean, it really is. She's calling these people roaches. This is what she says. I cannot begin to express to you how vile blood libel is, how wrong it is for any class of people, any human being. We preach against it on the show. If you are a moral person, you will simply judge people based on their actions. That's it. And we know that we're not God, but the truth is that's how God's going to judge us. Okay? So the best we can do, the term Christian means a little Christ. The best we can do is put our heads down and humbly try our best to live a moral life as God would have us live here. And that means judging people by their action, by their deeds, by by what they do in life. And not by whatever immutable quality you choose to prejudice them. Truly despicable. Really amazing, the self-ownership of the people that like to go back into the slavery annals of history. This is a report by Reuters. Among America's political elite, Reuters found that there are a bunch of people who are descendants of slaveholders. Okay, not surprising. But what is kind of funny is at the very top of the list here is Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, and then no Donald Trump. Isn't that amazing? Donald Trump's the only president in our lifetimes that wasn't a descendant of a slaveholder. Oh my. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. A lot of Democrats on this list. Okay, I can see some of the faces, some of the names, tons of Democrats on this list. Oh no, Liz Cheney. Oh. I kind of love this series actually. You can catch all these race hustlers and hate-filled like these monsters who like use race and use these issues to bitterly divide America, like Angela Davis, who's a communist, Black Panther communist, who was involved in a Black Panther like takeover at a courthouse that led to a bunch of murders. Angela Davis was like a getaway driver. She somehow, because of equity and the political moment of the time, was able to get off of charges for at the very least, being an accomplice to murder. Angela Davis found out, Black Panther, that she has slaveholders in her ancestry, that they came over on the Mayflower.
That is a list of the passengers on the Mayflower.
No, I can't believe this. No, my ancestors did not come here on the Mayflower.
Your ancestors came on the Mayflower.
No.
You are descended
No.
from one of the 101 people who sailed on the Mayflower.
Oof. That's a little bit too much to deal with right now.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you may have descended from people who laid
Never.
the foundation
Never.
for this country?
Never.
To his great shame, by the way, you should be honored to be one of the people who helped lay the foundations for this country. It's the greatest country on earth. Lavar Burton, who is somebody who has brought great shame upon his career, LeVar Burton had a totally fine, pretty benign acting career in a relatively beloved series called Reading Rainbow. But LeVar Burton, who has descended into being a total liberal activist sociopath, found out that he is a descendant of a Confederate soldier. Oh my.
Wow, that's him.
You are looking at your great-great-grandfather, James Henry Dixon. It's difficult to make out, but that is your biological great-great-grandfather.
Now, I'd have fought you 5 minutes ago if you told me that I had a white great-great-grandfather.
You do. You can fight me, but it's the truth. And ain't nothing you can do about it.
What? Kunta got white ancestry.
That's right.
What?
Yeah.
Come on now, Skip.
You know, you took 2 DNA tests. The 2 major commercial DNA tests almost never have tested an African American who was 100% sub-Saharan African.
Wow.
We all have white ancestry.
But this is close.
That's right, but this is close, and by name.
Wow. I love this series. Far be it for me to compliment something PBS is doing. Typically, I really don't like PBS, or I at least am totally agnostic to their programming. But I love it when I see a clip like this. This is very healing for the country, and we should do more of it. Because as human beings, we are deeply complicated individuals without direct moral, historical binaries, right? And it is the sort of confluence of all of those factors that make a melting pot, e pluribus unum, out of many one, America work. Is the fact that you could come here and start a new life and not have to be held by the shackles, metaphorically or physically, of an old world, and that you could just sort of be judged by your decisions here. And you could profit from them, or you could fall and fail, but it'd be a great adventure. And nobody's going to actually come at you or lump you in with some giant group based on your race, religion, or where you were born, or whatever. Dialect. People are imperfect, but that's kind of the great promise of this place. So, let's get back to that, please. I love this. I love this. These race hustlers, these people who are here to tell you that black people or white people or whatever, just giant monolith, and that you're not really black unless you do exactly as I tell you. Unless you give me political power, you're not black. Repulsive, okay? It's actually antithetically un-American. So good on them. Great show. It's called Finding Your Roots. Can't believe I'm recommending a PBS show, but I'm loving these clips, man. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay free. See ya.